Jonathan Glover is our referee, and he is getting ready to get it started as the USF Bulls are in all white, Clemson in their familiar orange. And finally, at Corbett Soccer Stadium, we are ready to roll right here on NSCAATV.com. And we thank you for staying with us here through what is almost a 2-hour delay as the second game was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, and the first game is finally underway. We thank you so much for being with us here on NSCAATV.com. College soccer underway, Keith.
Yeah, and it's exciting. Second week of the season for the women's soccer. Of course, the men open this weekend, and some big games going on both the men's and women's side this weekend. We'll try to catch up with those scores as we get along.
Jessica Clark in the middle of the field. One little change as well as you take a look at the USF lineup. We thought Marsha Harper was going to start next to Jessica Clark. Instead, it's Jordan Leestro who will get that start wearing number 15. And number 15 is on it, playing it long. Demi Stokes on the right side is really a true professional. She, over with the English national team, tests out better than all of those players. Number 8 up top for USF.
Yeah, and she's a player that she often plays on the right side, but she's left-footed. She comes in, one of these things that happens nowadays all the time. You have the opposite foot player wide. They come inside not only to their strong foot, but they open up spaces for players behind them to come forward.
All right, that's Christiana Endler, who is the big-time player that we're talking about. She's out of Chile, so they USF really an international team. We've known the men's team has been that way, but you got Endler from Chile, Diana Sainz from Costa Rica, Patterson is from Canada, Daniela Andrade's from Guatemala. You've got Olivia Chance from New Zealand. You've got Demi Stokes from England. As you said, Charla Passarillo from Wales. I mean, it's an international team as a corner kick here for Clemson. Katrina Atanda, the only goal on the season for Clemson, will take this with the left foot, sent back across, inside the box. Wow, lucky as that one falls right to Sheridan. Or to Endler, rather, my bad.
Yeah, and that was a tremendous cross in from the corner kick, and I think that was Tabitha Paget that got the head on it. The center back, no, not Tabitha Paget, it was Savannah Koner going up forward from the center back position to get ahead, and as we see both of their center backs, Coiner and Wagner, will both go forward on those restarts.
Clemson now just 3 minutes in. On the turn here is Vanessa Laxgang. She is the captain along with Caitlin Reeve. And Laxgang, one of the rare seniors for Eddie Radwanski, now in his third season, did an unbelievable job at UNCG, same place where he won 2 national championships at the D3 level. Here comes the home team down the left side. And this one will be a corner kick for the Bulls, Keith.
Yeah, and we got both teams get to show us what they have on the restarts right from the beginning, and I like it. Both teams going right to goal, and ball blocked out of bounds, and we'll get the corner kick in and see if they can also get a shot on target.
Passariello will take the corner kick.
And both their main targets are also their center backs going forward, Jackie Simpson and Cara Patterson.
Passariello, high lofting ball, still loose as it was trying to find the head there of Jackie Simpson that Keith Tabasnik just talked about. This one's still live. Flag stays down. It's trouble. Was crashing in there was Cara Patterson. Her sister Taylor was also part of this team. She just graduated, so now just one Patterson remains.
Yeah, it was a good defensive play as well by Caitlin Reeve coming in as Patterson was about to try to get a shot off.
The Bulls were picked to finish 5th in the American Athletic Conference. Clemson picked to finish down near the bottom of the always tough ACC, but Eddie Radwanski is going to put the freshmen out there from the get-go and thinks by the time the ACC season really heats up, the freshmen will have that experience they need.
Well, he needs to do that. He needs to be playing good teams with them right now because they have not done well in the ACC for quite a while.
Trying to thread the needle was Passariello, trying to look for Demi Stokes, number 8 on the right side. He's got a great left foot, does Stokes. There'll be a throw in here for USF. Diana Sainz gets it to Stokes. Stokes so dangerous. We'll drop it back to Chance. Liv Chance from New Zealand. She'll square it all the way across. Tucking inside there. Stokes can't quite get to it, and it's won back again here by Atanda. And Atanda will play it back to Laxgang. Now it's Claire Wagner. Claire Wagner, part of that great Castle program that won a couple championships in the ECNL. Paige Record and Claire Wagner together. This one bombed up top. And clearing it out on the back line. Simpson tracking back there with Patterson.
As a matter of fact, you talk about Claire Wagner, we just saw that one of the strengths of Claire Wagner is the balls that she can do to open up the other team's defense. And what it does, too, it brings the forwards of the other team have to play a little bit higher to stop her from doing that. So it can open up space behind those forwards as well.
One by USF in the middle. USF can strike quickly. The counterattack is always on for Denise Schilte-Brown's program. Now her associate head coach is a man she knows pretty well, Chris Brown. What a great combination. They did it at VCU, and they brought that combination here.
Yeah, and they met up in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area where Denise had gone to UMBC and Chris had gone to American University. Both collegiate players are very good.
Of course, Keith Tabatsik, one of the all-time great outside backs at American University. Stick around for the second game as well, because the outside backs for both teams, but particularly USF, are outstanding. I know you're looking forward to that, Keith. The USF Bulls and Florida Gulf Coast men's after this one.
Absolutely. A really good way to kick off the season on the men's side with two teams that met in the NCAA tournament last year.
Stokes so strong, but will lose it in the back as Eddie Radwanski's Clemson team showing some fight. Coming forward to knock it forward was Daniela Andrade. One back in the middle here now by Jordan Listro. Back in the middle, USF will get it out wide. They can cross it inside. Waiting for it is Passariello. Still waiting for it as they drop it back, and now USF very patient, Keith.
Yeah, they were, and that was good because they couldn't get it in there. It looks like they had to attack it. It closed down. They come out and now reload, and if they can reload fast enough, then you got a good attack down the other side.
Simpson comes forward. Signs is open on the right side. Signs looks up, sees Stokes in front of her. Passariello's also there. Stokes holds it. She could turn and shoot. She does. Going far post, and Stokes almost snuck one in past the talented Sheridan.
Yeah, and I tell you, Dean, you said it right at the beginning. They didn't have anything. They knock it back, come around, and they get a great chance coming down the other end. That's really good patient soccer as well, and good soccer moving the ball around. Also showed Demi Stokes danger, just a kind of half turn, and that left foot almost slides it inside the far post.
Sheridan bombs it long. We've got Aaron McLeod and Karina LeBlanc up in Canada. They still got a lot of years left, but the way that Eddie Radwanski talks about Kaylin Sheridan could be the future for a team that continues to get better every year on the international circle.
No, exactly. As we've said, that she's already had some appearances with the with the national teams, and she led the under-17 Canadian national team to the silver medal in the Youth World Cup.
Laxgane looking around. Stokes picks her pocket. Stokes now on the attack. Can she thread the needle? Passariello was there on the right side, but Clemson does a good job. Turnover by Clemson, but they don't panic, and you expect that maybe with 7 freshmen, but Eddie Radwanski says, oh, these are points. Here's a mistake. A back pass. It's still loose. Clemson could knock one in here. Oh, my. And they cannot make it. Crashing down, and there was Paige Record. A mistake by the goalkeeper, and they don't put it in.
No, and I'll tell you what, just an in-between thing, the keeper coming out, not quite clearing it, and, of course, Clemson player, Paige Record, going right for it, and sometimes I wonder, as a freshman, they go for it no matter what. And when they get to be a junior or senior, whether they think, I'm never going to get that, they stop sometimes. But she almost got a goal off of that and probably should have finished.
Abby Jones with the cross. Clemson knocking at the door. Yeah, indeed. A big mistake back there, Keith. I can't believe it's not 1-0 for the visitors.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like I said, I think she should have finished on that once she did that work there. And, again, you're talking about the freshmen not panicking, and they do want to be able to keep the ball for a while they get it.
Record, who's probably still sweating that last opportunity just a little bit, I would say. She'll be thinking about that one, the young freshman. From Cary, North Carolina. Went to Apex High School, did Record. Throw in here for Paget. As Tabitha Paget, 5th-year senior, former SoCon Player of the Year, Freshman Player of the Year at UNCG, came with Eddie Radwanski. Here's Atanda. Atanda scored that goal against Furman, the only goal so far in the short season for Clemson. 0-0 tie against Auburn and the 1-0 win over Furman thanks to the Atanda goal.
Yeah, and Atanda coming from a good soccer background as well, playing with the PDA Academy in New Jersey and played Region 1 ODP as well.
Passariello continues to put pressure. Sheridan will play it out of the back comfortably. And now here's Paget, who we're just talking about. Paget down the left side. She has some space. Paget closed down there, and with that close coming in there pretty hard was Andreski. It was Jessica Clark, rather, number 23, who was able to cause Paget to throw it away, Keith.
And again, trying not to let them get into either team into any rhythm. And it's pretty clear early that both teams are comfortable going forward, and a little bit more rhythm for the South Florida team than for the Clemson team. But of course, the best chance so far for Clemson.
It's a great steal right there by Paige Record. Look at the pressure Record, the freshman, putting on that back line. You don't always see that with the visiting team, but make no mistake, Eddie Radwanski, he said he wanted a tough game right off the bat. He felt like even with these freshmen, he wanted to put them in a tough environment against a well-coached team, and that's why he's here. Never played this team before.
No, and as a matter of fact, playing on the road, playing against a good team, but also look at the environment that you're in terms of this field and facility as well. Eddie, of course, used to good facilities, having been at UNC Greensboro for many years, one of the better collegiate facilities.
Gabby Bayorth takes down Olivia Chance. No card given, but Olivia Chance still on the ground, and they'll stop the clock here at Corbett Soccer Stadium. And if you're just tuning in, the clock was stopped for quite some time as we had all kinds of lightning, tons of rain. It seems like it happens quite a bit, obviously, in Tampa, but particularly when we come down here for the game of the week with NSCAA.
Yeah, and I tell you, it just looked like it was going to be okay, and then all of a sudden this front came in. It just parked itself right over the field. I'm not sure that any of the other fields in the area it was raining or lightning, but just right over here, and caused quite a delay. And we're obviously hoping for an exciting game that ends in regulation, so that we can also get the second game of the night in as well.
All right, USF, after that foul right in the middle of the field, will bomb one in the middle. Passariello taken down inside the box. No whistle, though. Referee letting him play here. About 12 minutes into this one. American Athletic Conference, USF taking on the ACC's Clemson Tigers. Here's Atanda. She'll look up. Record is there. Record with one touch. Now two. She's going to try to turn back to Atanda. Atanda is in. One too many touches as lurking over there on the far side. Abby Jones was wide open, Keith.
Oh, she was wide open from the beginning, and if the first pass had just been left for her, she would have been right in on goal. The second pass ended up being a good one, but she's still wide open, and she may want to let them know. And there she goes again. This time they try to find her, but maybe she's a little shy as a freshman to be shouting for the ball. I don't know, but she was really wide open.
Boy, I like what I see out of Katrina Atanda, though, the freshman from that very successful PDA program up in the New Jersey. She's part of the U17 national team player pool. Hard foul there, but, Atanda has looked strong. Using her body, playing with the ball, off the ball. I like what I see there, Keith.
No, very, very well so far, and a lot of the players are coming out in just the second week of the season, and looks like this looks more like a mid-season game, to be honest with you.
I'm going to talk about it a little bit. You throw 7 freshmen out, particularly in the ACC. You're throwing caution to the wind, I'd say, but number 11 recruiting class in the country, so he brought him into play.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things is that what Eddie's been able to do is bring in a good set of players that are going to keep games closer. They'll win a couple games that they didn't win last year, and some of the losses that maybe a North Carolina type loss may be more competitive than in the past. But it won't happen overnight. But I think he's certainly well on his way.
Here's Paget, who, as we mentioned, played for Eddie Radwanski at UNCG. Record kept it alive for a little bit. USF continues to kind of play with fire here back in their own 18. High pressure from the visitors as this one is sent across by Laxgang, somehow able to keep it alive. Flag is up on the other side as Tori Andreski was going to try to run it down, but didn't matter. She was offside. 15 minutes in, Dean Linke along with Keith Tabatsik. No score as we've got USF and Clemson. Your thoughts after the first 15, Dr. Keith?
Well, there may be no score, but it's not because there haven't been chances. A fantastic chance for Demi Stokes for South Florida that just went wide, and of course the miss on the other end by Paige Reckert after she had blocked the goalkeeper trying to clear the ball out.
Clemson winning the second balls at the moment. Out wide left to Paget again. Paget looks up. Not totally on the save page that time with Abby Jones. Demi Stokes has it. Played back in the middle. Quick little touch there by Signs. Signs plays in the middle to Liv Chance, who's coming all the way back. And now they'll give it back to Christiane Endler, the Chilean goalkeeper. Pretty good ball there, Endler to Stokes, but one back in the middle by Clemson once again. Laxgang, number 10, is on it. He'll drop it quickly to Reeve. Hard foul by Signs is getting ready to turn the corner there was Abby Jones. She was off to the races.
We'll see what Clemson has in. Their corner kick that they sent in before was quite dangerous, and they're trying to decide, and yeah, the center backs are both going to go forward.
Captain Vanessa Laxgang really coming into herself this season. Here's Laxgang on it again. Laxgang will earn the corner kick. Vanessa Laxgang. Eddie Radronsky talking about how proud he was of her prep. Played for the Eclipse program, won a national championship there. She's got a great uncle that's actually in the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. Played back in the 1950s, does Laxgang. Corner kick here for the Clemson Tigers. Should be up 1-0. Sent back across. Headed there, still loose. Endler comes out for just a moment. It's still loose in front of the goal. As lurking there was number 7, Tabitha Paget, as the left back causing havoc here.
Yeah, no, she actually did a fantastic job staying on top of that ball and almost finding the upper corner as well. We're talking about Vanessa Laxgang. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dean, because you're the Indiana expert. Didn't the uncle or father play for Indiana?
Yeah, part of one of those national championship teams, from what I understand. Well done, Keith Tabatsik.
Well, I know when I'm with you, Dean, we have the resident Indiana expert in here. The Jerry Yeagley fan club, right? Aren't we all part of that?
The Godfather.
Yes.
And your reigning champs as well. Kaylin Sheridan. Outstanding shot blocker. Her distribution is also very good. She'll show it to you right there. Look at that pass. 40 yards on the dime. Finds number 8, Reckert. Reckert on the turn. Will lose it here to Simpson. Daniela Andrade from Guatemala feeling a little bit of pressure. Reckert is over there. The big, strong freshman. It'll go out of bounds. It'll be a throw in here now for Clemson. Thanks for joining us here on NSCAATV.com. If you were tuning in for the men's game, it will come, but a 2-hour delay or just about has us starting here. We had all kinds of lightning and then a ton of rain, but we are underway here. No score as USF comes in at 1-0-1. Clemson comes in at 1-0-1.
And I'd say right now, although the very early part was South Florida with a chance by Demi Stokes, it's been Clemson putting the pressure on. And again, very encouraging for Eddie Radronsky and all these freshmen that he has.
Foul on USF, an opportunity for a lot of orange jerseys to come forward here and get inside the box.
And the center backs are going forward again, and this happened last time where Coiner and Wagner went forward, but then they didn't get the ball into the box. That's always very dangerous for a counterattack coming the other way. So if they are going forward, you need to take advantage of it.
Denise Schulte-Brown will try to get a substitute in at the first possible time. Is trying to check in. This one sent across in the box, now out of the box. It'll roll out of bounds, and it'll stay with USF off of Clemson. Clemson not too happy with that call. Savannah Coiner, the tall center back, was trying to run it down. Passariello, so good. Number 19, the player featured by Keith Tabatsnik in the open. Another foul here as it gets very chippy. So Kristen Granados Gomez, who was just cleared and named eligible, hoping to check in here, Keith.
Yeah, I think they did not think that she would be cleared. I assume that's by the NSA clearinghouse in time, but with minutes to go, maybe because of delay. Who knows? Maybe the delay helped her get cleared.
Tell you what, how about Kaylin Sheridan coming out? They talk about getting that leg up to protect yourself, get a little bit more space. Really sort of picture textbook goalkeeping there from Sheridan.
And a good job there, and yet she's known as her strengths for her shot-stopping ability, on the line shot-stopping ability and her distribution as well, which we saw a little bit earlier. You mentioned the 40-yard pass she had made, but certainly commanding her box right there as well.
Great crowd here despite the 2-hour delay at Corbett Soccer Stadium, one of the nicer soccer facilities across the country, particularly at the collegiate level. And as you look around, you see all kinds of accolades for the men's program. The women's program with their first NCAA appearance in 2010, just a few years after arriving here, as Denise Schulte-Brown trying to put the women's program on the same bar as the men. That won't be easy, though.
No, it won't be easy because obviously the history of the men and the amount of times in the NCAA tournament and going far, the coaches that they've had here, some fantastic names in soccer with John Hackworth and Jay Miller, etc., going down. And, but you look at South Florida last year, they were 12-5-4 last year and won the most games that they had won to date in the Big East.
Throw in here, USF, high pressure though by Clemson, and Clemson will win it back. You can visit the official NSCAA college scoreboard at topdrawersoccer.com for all of your college score needs. That's topdrawersoccer.com. The score here is 0-0, Clemson and USF. Clemson, very dangerous. 7 freshmen in the starting lineup for Eddie Radwanski. Here comes the counterattack, though. Liv Chance from New Zealand. Looking for Stokes, number 6, or number 8, rather. They'll play it out wide. Stokes is still sitting over there as it'll now fall to the feet here of Signs. Signs. They try to get it back to Granados Gomez, number 6. Another foul called, and Clemson will restart.
Referee Johnny Glover all over there. He's calling Demi Stokes back.
Paget wanted a yellow as Stokes slowed down that play. Referee will let him play on for now. Falls to Laxgang. Laxgang will lose it. Here come the Bulls. Played up top to Passariello's. Got Stokes on the right. Look at Stokes make that run. Instead, decided to go the other side, trying to find Sarah Miller. Miller, one of the fastest players you'll see. That's the first opportunity you really saw the speed from Miller, but the pass wasn't there, Keith.
No.
But here's Miller running it down with that speed. Sorry, Keith. Here's Miller. Crosses it. Stokes is there. Stokes thought she may dummy it as behind her was Passariello. Now it'll drop to Granados Gomez. Granados Gomez, one chance. Will drop it back. Passariello will take a shot. Not quite on target, though. And good stuff here, though, from the home team, and the crowd likes it.
Yeah, the crowd does like it because a good series down there. And you're talking about Sarah Miller, and the ball had passed her by, but then she kept at it and ran it down, got the cross in, and another good shot by Demi Stokes. It didn't get past the defenders, but that was definitely on target. And, finally South Florida putting a little bit of sustained pressure.
Passariello, second team All-Big East a year ago and was named to the American Athletic Conference preseason team this season. She led the team with 19 points last year, 8 goals and 3 assists. Clemson coming the other way. Throw in back for USF. No score, but not for a lack of opportunities. Clemson on a gaff in the back there by even Christiane Endler. Should have scored, but Record couldn't put it on target. I think she was surprised it was still going on, that play. Atanda can't get it to it from Record. How do you explain that play in the first half?
Well, no, and sometimes you do. You're going in, and you probably have chased those balls 100 times and never got to them, and all of a sudden you get to them, and there it is standing there, and the goal is just, looks like it's 30 feet for a second until you're about to hit it, and then it looks like it's 3 inches. And, of course, she hit the post. And, the dean, you're supposed to tell him to hit the inside of the post, though, not the outside there.
Well said,
So,
Keith.
I think that's down to coaching.
Another whistle here, and this is another opportunity for a ton of orange jerseys to come forward, get inside the box. Lurking there, Savannah Coiner, number 6. She's got to make sure she gets onside. Right now, she's not onside. Checked back. She's okay now. Comes back, and here Endler will handle it.
Yeah, and that is by design for her to stay offside in an offside position to begin with, and it's actually something that not enough players do, because it really does kind of unbalance the defenders. They keep looking behind, not sure what's going on, and of course the hit there was not for her; it was for someone else running in who would have been onside.
Coach to Batsnake drawing it up. A little over 20 minutes remaining here in the first half. Clemson now. Game moving at a rapid pace. Subs here now for Eddie Radwanski, though, as checking into the game, number 17, Kylie Tawney, a sophomore from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And then Emily Byorth, the twin sister of Gabby Byorth from Dublin, Ohio, will also come in. As coming out of the game is number 23, Tori Andreski, as well as number 8, Paige Record. It was Record with that opportunity in the first half. Meanwhile, USF also going to their bench is Victoria Abnathy will check into the game. And Victoria Abnathy's story is an incredible one. Her mom is very sick right now, was here with the pregame speech as well, as everybody rallying around the mom of Victoria Abnathy, and we wish her all the best in her fight right now.
I think they've even seen a number of subs already, and early in the season that definitely happens quite a bit, as coaches are trying to give players a chance to show what they can do and to get their feet wet for all the freshmen as well and the young players in the college game. And we have another one coming in now for South Florida.
So coming into the game here now, number 22, Bianca Norman. She's played in both of the first 2 games, and she'll come in and head over to that left back position as Daniela Andrade will come out. Played all the way through. A little bit of pressure as it's played back to the goalkeeper. Good composure, though, from the rookie Sheridan out of Canada. Played down the wing. Clemson on the attack. Falls to the feet here of Abby Jones. Abby Jones with some good speed. Jones will square it. There's Jones was looking for a tanda, making a long run from midfield.
You know, Dean, and you're the one who said it, that the good composure by Sheridan at the other end, actually getting that ball out and not just clearing it, but actually passing it, which led to this attack.
Reeve with the throw-in. Reeve, a great story. Got injured right before her senior year, kind of fell off the recruiting list. Sean Nahas, part of the soccer program. Damon Nahas, Coach Paige Record, along with Claire Wagner, and then they also had coached Reeve, and Reeve's on campus at Clemson. Eddie Radwanski finds out, and now here she is playing some key minutes for the Clemson Tigers.
You never know, do you? I know I never left any stone unturned at Georgetown, especially in the early years. There was a lot of good players under the stones that could help us back then.
Yana Spengler getting ready to check in here now for Sarah Miller. So Spengler made her USF debut and scored her first career goal in that season-opening 7-0 win over Arkansas Pine Bluff. She's from Germany, Spengler is. Throw in here now for Signs. Boy, I'll tell you what, they've got an eye on Liv Chance. Everywhere Liv Chance turns, there's some orange jerseys. A key part of Eddie Radwanski's scouting notes here, Keith.
No, absolutely, and one of the things that Eddie is known for, is preparing very well for opponents. Also, and I think, while he has a very young team, it's also teaching them how to prepare for certain players and for the way other teams are going to play against them as well.
Another whistle here for Clemson. And here's Wagner, one of those players that played for Damon Nahas, the Chelsea ladies team that won a couple ECNL championships back-to-back. Stolen back shot by Clemson, and Endler is there. Good positioning by Endler, but good work defensively to steal it in the middle. There is the captain, Laxgang. Laxgang basically saying, I know you're talking about the freshman, but the junior is a key part here in the middle.
Yeah, talk about us as well. And if she does moves like that and shots like that, we'll talk about her all day.
Wagner wins it. A little over 15 minutes left here in the first half. No score. USF women and the Clemson women. And Keith Tabatsnik, longtime coach in the Big East. After this play, we'll ask about the switch here and see if you're used to talking about the American Athletic Conference, and we can do that now with this throw-in.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dean. You said that name a little earlier, American Athletic Conference, and that's AAC. Isn't that the ACC? No, it's the AAC. And boy, I'll tell you, last year during the season where all the different things were happening and teams were talking about moving, we said, look, we can't even keep up with it. We'll try to update you. Beginning of the season right now, we can update you, but something tells me it's still going to move at some point, a lot of these teams. But you almost have the old Big East in the AAC, and the new Big East with the teams that have stayed there, some of the traditional teams like Georgetown, St. John's. But the AAC, Memphis, Rutgers, Temple, Central Florida, South Florida, Houston, Louisville, SMU, Cincinnati, and Connecticut on the women's side.
Pretty good programs, a formidable conference. That second ball won again by Clemson, and Clemson on the attack. Played across, looking for a Tanda. USF steps up for just a second. Now another shot for Clemson, and this one too strong, too high from Laxgang.
I tell you, Dean, I just get the feeling that there's going to be a goal coming before this half. I mean, both teams have had chances, and Clemson certainly putting South Florida a little bit on their heels, more so than you might have expected. But the couple times that South Florida has been in front of the goal have been very dangerous, especially Demi Stokes. So the left foot is going to find something, I think.
Endler boots it long. Battle in the midfield. Won by Signs. Signs with Granados Gomez. Natando tracks all the way back to win it. Tanda calling for the ball. Played back here to Reeve. Reeve feeling the pressure. Reeve goes with it, squares it. As she was trying to find Padgett, the left back, making that run. Tell you what, Keith, I've been impressed, though, with this young Clemson team.
Yeah, absolutely. Really didn't know what to expect tonight. Coming in to watch. I mean, who would know what to expect with all these freshmen? And yeah, you have to be very impressed. And it just shows that you spoke on the phone with Eddie Radwanski quite a bit. I met with him at the hotel today for a bit, and he is so excited about this team. And I really think he believes in them quite a bit, and they're showing why.
One of the players he believes in is Allie Kington, who has come back from an ACL injury. Wears number 14, wearing that big old brace out there, right in the middle of the field, and she has come all the way back and been a true inspiration to this Tigers women's soccer team. Big weekend for Clemson. Eddie Radwanski saying the game day crew is in town for Clemson, Georgia tomorrow, and he talked about the fact that in Clemson, South Carolina, it's not like other markets where there's different schools being represented. It's all orange. You can only wear orange in Clemson.
That's right. You wouldn't want to walk down there in anything else.
Clemson continuing to put some pressure. Reeve with the throw in. Live Chance in the middle. Kington steps up for just a moment. One back in the middle of the park. Here come the Bulls. Too strong. Keith with 11 minutes to go here in the first half. If you were scoring a boxing match, would you give it to the visitor?
No, I'd give it to the visitor for sure right now. It's not even a tie, and Clemson has had the better of this game. And, having said that, like I said, when South Florida has been in the final third, they've looked very dangerous, but this is definitely Clemson's half.
Kington holds it up, and Kington back on it. Moving all right with that brace on. And this will come all the way back to Savannah Coiner. She's a junior from California. I find too many Californians on the Clemson team, but Corney has settled in. This one way too long, and it'll roll out of bounds and come back here to Christiane Endler.
Well, Dean, talk about the top drawer soccer.com scoreboard, and we have some scores in from women's soccer tonight. Number 1, UNC Chapel Hill has a 2-1 victory over New Mexico. Duke 1-0 over Kennesaw State, and Georgetown 3-2 over crosstown rivals George Washington.
North Carolina coming from behind for that victory, the number 1 team in the nation and your reigning champs. Signs cannot run it down. It'll be a throw in back to Clemson. Eddie Radwanski is up off the bench for Clemson. Clemson dealing with some pressure out of the back. We'll send it over from Claire Wagner to Savannah Coiner. Coiner looking up. Surveying the options. Paget has moved all the way up top from her left back position, showing that versatility that Eddie Radwanski told us about before the game.
About 8.5 minutes left here, and I know Eddie Radwanski really hopes that his Clemson players will keep the pressure going. Sometimes when you've had this sort of advantage and you haven't capitalized on it, you can let something up right at the end. But quite frankly, South Florida just hasn't got themselves together. There doesn't seem to be a field leader out there trying to rally and connect them. And they've got the players out there, that's for sure, but it's just not clicking right now.
Yeah, everything clicking for the visitors under Eddie Radwanski. We mentioned those 10 seasons at UNCG. He had a 140-65-13 record, and they led him to 5 NCAA tournament appearances. His last season there, they went 19-2-1, and was ranked as high as 10th in the nation for a mid-major, not too far down the road from UNC Chapel Hill. And he won the SoCon Coach of the Year multiple times as Endler again comes out. That's the second time she's come out and has been late to get to it, and there was an orange player behind her.
Yeah, a little later, but she got a piece of it, just enough to throw that off. And again, Clemson keeps going, and player that just had that chance coming off the field now.
Deanna Sherry, number 5, will check in as now coming out is Paget, who started at left back, moved up top, and Paget is one of those players that was part of that 19-2-1 team for Eddie Radwanski at UNCG. Right side, Clemson. Can they cross one? Oh, it goes out of bounds. Touch a little bit too heavy, but good idea for the Tigers. Coming to you on NSCAATV.com. It's the USF Bulls women's soccer team and the Clemson women's soccer team. After nearly a 2-hour delay, we're going to play two here after this one. It's the USF Bulls men's team taking on Bob Butehorn's Florida Gulf Coast program. And, of course, Florida Gulf Coast will ring a bell to those Georgetown. You told me not to say it, Keith, but Dunk City
have to
Florida
bring it up,
Gulf Coast.
Okay, and my apologies to all the Georgetown alumni out there who are listening, as I promised not to bring it up myself.
6 minutes left here in the first half. You get the feeling, and Keith, you can talk about it as a former coach. You see the visitors come here. You see this young team. I think Denise Schilte-Brown had all kinds of confidence, particularly after that 7-0 win over Arkansas, Pine Bluff, 1-1 tie against Texas. I mean, what do you do? I mean, she's going to be doing a lot of coaching, right?
Yeah, well, I tell you, the first thing you do is get out of the half without giving up a goal.
Right.
And this is the thing, they have to keep their focus there because, then you just, you regroup at halftime and you try to address the couple things. I think, number one, they're not keeping the ball when they get it. And so they're on their heels defending, and my guess is psychologically they're defending more than they expected to coming into this game. So they really need to get a hold of the ball to take care of that. They start stringing some passes together, maybe get into a rhythm. We saw early on they had some tremendous movement off the ball and switching the point of attack. But, you do have to knock that ball a few times, and there they go again, losing it almost right away.
Clemson, middle of the field. Yeah, I think you're right, Keith. At this point, Denise Schilte-Brown would be happy to go in, even here at home at 0-0, as that field just is leaning left for the team in orange, and they continue to attack just outside the 18. Signs will come over to try to close it down. It's squared across. One for a moment. Now a shot by Clemson from distance, but not on target, as dialing that one up was Katie Sprouse, who's come off the bench for Eddie Radwanski.
Yeah, no, she dialed that up, but it was the play of Caitlin Reeve, who would move from the midfield to the left back, going down that left side to get that service in, and she showed a really good attacking ability there, going one-on-one and turning the corner.
One in the middle. We'd like to thank Choice Hotels, the official hotel sponsor of the NSCAA. Wherever the game takes you, Choice Hotels makes getting there easy. Visit choicesportstravel.com to book your hotel today. I want to say hello to Grant Pierce and all the good folks at Choice Hotel, who will also be bringing you the High School All-America games presented by the NSCAA and Choice Hotels in and around both College Cups this year, Keith, so that'll be exciting.
Absolutely, and looking forward to the College Cups as well. And, all these teams right now, they're early in the season, and, losing these games don't really hurt you so much, but winning them can definitely help you, if that makes any sense at all.
3 minutes and change left here in the first half. The longtime Georgetown soccer coach Keith DeBatsick always makes sense. Good to be back in the booth with you here, Keith. It's going to be a great season. Next Friday, Sasso Soroski's Maryland Terrapins welcome in John Kerr's Duke Blue Devils. Will be there. Sasso Soroski talked to him yesterday, Keith, and he said the first Friday for the Maryland Terps, it'll just be jammed.
It will be jammed, and it doesn't matter what day when they play Duke.
Live Chance. One too many touches. Can't get it by the back line here of Clemson. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left here in the first half. Still no score. USF Clemson.
They didn't get that final pass through, but it just showed when they are going in the open field, how many of their players are committed to go forward for South Florida and how dangerous they can be. And they do get a free kick here, so Clemson, who's had most of the game, has to really do a good job defending and not give anything up, as they deserve to minimally come out with a tie in the half.
Top of the 18. Dangerous opportunity for USF. Yep. Yeah, that would have been epic, right? In one of the cruel parts of soccer. But sometimes you just got to survive, as you said, Keith, sort of refocus, regroup, and Boy, if USF would have snuck one in there, that would have just deflated this young Clemson team.
No, it certainly would have. And I actually think it's going to be quite a challenge for Clemson in the second half to come out and do what they've just did for 45 minutes. I actually think that if it stays 0-0, it's a much better chance that South Florida is going to regroup, and come out a lot stronger than Clemson maintaining what they're doing.
Throw in. Clemson just outside the 18. A minute and change. Both teams will press here in the final 70 seconds of the first half. Clemson on the turn, exactly 1 minute. Diagonal ball just inside the 18. Signs over there on the mark. Down near the end line. Crossed! And another sitter for Clemson that cannot be finished by the Tigers. So close for Eddie Radwanski's team.
Not only so close, but I'm actually going to say that that's even going to make it even harder second half for them to come out and maintain it, because that's actually a bit deflating to have such a good chance there and to put that ball over. I mean, that they really should have 2 goals now.
The NSCAA Game of the Week presented by the good folks at Continental Tire, Travis Roffler and Amanda Henson and the whole crew in Fort Mill, South Carolina, not too far from Clemson. 10 seconds remain. And the Clemson Tigers with a couple opportunities, but not able to put it in the back of the net. And after 45, it's USF 0 and Clemson 0. Let's take a look now at the Disney Soccer NSCAA Women's Division I National Player of the Week. And you talk about freshmen, how about Becky Burley's Florida freshman Savannah Jordan, who a hat trick and 2 more goals in her first 2 games, as joining Abby Wambach as another player with a hat trick down at Florida. A great start, and congratulations to Savannah Jordan, our Disney Soccer NSCAA Player of the Week. Dean Linke along with Keith the Batsink, hoping to be joined by Denise Schilte-Brown. I can't wait to hear what she's got to say about these first 45.
No, it'll be interesting. She's meeting with her coaching staff right now, and I think every one of them is going to have a little bit of an opinion there. But now you're going to have the chance to find out yourself, Dean, what she's thinking. But she definitely doesn't look happy.
Indeed, after 45 minutes of play and a 2-hour rain delay, we've got 45 in the books, and the score is USF 0, Clemson 0. And Denise Schilte-Brown, you're always so honest. I think in that first 45, Clemson may have been the better team, Coach. What do you think?
5 players, and that made it difficult for us to be dangerous and get into the attacking third of the field.
Well, here's the good thing, though. Now you get to regroup. I see the brain trust over there getting together. What will be the game plan, Coach?
You think that's the brain trust, do you? The game plan will be to talk to that front 5 and ask them to, be better at controlling the balls that go forward, to show better, and have the support from behind get there earlier so that we can, connect to build. We're not going to get direct and ugly, but we've got to just get cleaner and better on the ball.
I expect that will happen. You've got a great attack. Thanks for being such great host as well, Coach.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, Denise Schilte-Brown, the fine head coach here for USF. All right, we're going to take a break and come back with more right here on NSCAATV.com.
They're saying there's a bleed through. It's just what? A bleed through. What is that? Basically, they're hearing static when they're hearing it. And we're thinking the rain when it got in the cabling there. That
How do we take this?
you're just gonna pop that. How long is halftime usually?
15.
Trying to keep that window clear for you guys. It sucks though.
Yeah, it's this side. I
shoot
can't see
right
anything
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can reach all over there. And the humidity gets here after rain. the air conditioning.
I can't see this happening in the field. We don't have a monitor. What do we got going right now?
Continental Tire, official tire of Major League Soccer.
Yeah, you got time.
I got time.
What are they saying about this day?
No, just somebody asked me if I had fun. I'm having fun.
A friend of mine is in the stadium.
I got time. I'll be right back.
Okay, we're going to MSC. All right. Ready? We'll go. Got it. All right, here we go. Halfway, yeah.
USF fans, the Bulls are back in action on Sunday, September 1st at 1 p.m. right here at Corpus Christi. Adult tickets are just $7, and as always, tickets get free. Visit GoUSFBoys.com for game day information.
The broadcast of this match is authorized by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the NSCAA is strictly prohibited. Tonight's match was produced for the NSCAA by Turbo Sports Group. Got some big games coming up as well for the NSCAA. Right after this one, we've got Florida Gulf Coast men's soccer team coached by Bob Butehorn taking on George Kiefer's South Florida team, a very exciting team as well. And then we've got NAIA action brought to you by Turbo Sports Group Saturday, 6 o'clock, Concordia, Oregon at Hastings. And then on Monday night, you've got the University of Northwestern Ohio at Olivia Nazarene as well. And then how about for Division I next Friday, Duke at Maryland. John Kerr taking on Sasso Soroski's Maryland team. It should be fantastic. Your halftime score at Corbett Soccer Stadium here in Tampa on the campus of USF is the USF Bulls 0 and the Clemson Tigers 0. We're going to take another break here. We'll be back for more as part of the college soccer special right here on NSCAATV.com.
Just turn them.
Keep it down off you.
Yeah.
Welcome back here to Corbett Soccer Stadium. As we welcome you into Corbett Soccer Stadium as we get ready to start the second half. The USF Bulls 0 and the Clemson Tigers 0. Joined by Eddie Radwanski, who ran out 7 freshmen in the first 45. Eddie, very impressed with your team. As we were talking about, if we were judging a boxing match, you guys blew them out of the water. Nice job in the first half.
Well, appreciate that. As we stated before the game that, we wanted to dictate tempo, and, the only way to do that is you have to have the ball. And I felt like we did, give USF credit. They came out with a lot of energy in the first 5 minutes, and we just weathered it. And then as the game settled, we were able to move the ball and create some chances. And, to be quite honest, we probably should have put one of those in. But we didn't, so we got to come out in the second half and still dictate the tempo of the game.
Well, I'm glad you talked about that, because when you roll back and look at it, there was an open goal on the one and then really a sitter on the second one. How do you overcome that when you've got so much momentum, but it's still 0-0, Coach?
Well, you just got to, per se, take the bull by the horn. If you have those opportunities, you just got to stick them in, and that's what we talked about. It's like, hey, we can't leave the door open. You can't play a game where you're dominating and having most of the play and chances, and leave that window open. It's like hanging around your 0-0 with Stoke City, and all of a sudden, bang, you're down a goal. So we have to go out and dictate, and you got to take the game by the nerve and finish those chances.
Third season, talk about the play of your freshmen as you're building something now here at Clemson.
Well, obviously, it's an excellent recruiting class, a lot of talent, and, kind of our foundation going forward. But I'm excited about their involvement and our returnees. I think we've got a great chemistry and a lot of depth that we haven't had in a while. And you can just feel the chemistry within the group. And you can see it hopefully in the play, because the ball's zinging. Hopefully we get some tempo. We're connecting passes. They're combination plays. We're being dangerous. So all the good things that we value as principals.
And they're doing it right now. So, Eddie, we'll let you enjoy the second half. Thanks for being
guys.
with us. All right, Eddie Radwanski, the fine head coach of the Clemson Tigers women's soccer team, as we are underway here in the second half. If you're just tuning in, expecting to see the USF Bulls in Florida Gulf Coast, we had a almost 2-hour weather delay, a ton of lightning and rain, so we're just here in the second half. It's no score between the American Athletic Conference's USF Bulls and the ACC's Clemson Tigers, and very positive, obviously, from Eddie Radwanski right there, Keith.
Very positive. What I want to know from Eddie is how long has he thought about that line, take the bull by the horns, playing the South Florida Bulls, but it is actually, that's what they did in the first half. They just did not reward themselves, and like I said, very positive, and that's the only way you can be at the halftime. You can go in as coach and you're very happy, but you can show frustration as well because you didn't get the goal, and they certainly can't do that with a young team. And it'd be interesting. I think it's going to be a real challenge for Clemson to maintain what they just did, but if they do, great credit to them.
Dean Linke along with Keith Tabatsnik. We thank you for being with us here on NSCAATV.com as we work through the opening game glitches of a new network here, NSCAATV.com. The key part is high-definition video of two quality teams. And, boy, Denise Schulte-Brown, I thought she was actually very honest, admitting that Clemson had that first 45, but she was going to get with her coaches and see what they can do here.
Yeah, and she was honest. And you could see, and hear that also disappointed, obviously, about the way things were going. And she said she has to get the front five going, to get the ball. But obviously, they do need the ball, and I think they need a little bit of a rhythm before they, anything can really happen by design. They could get a counterattack, and they're very dangerous and score that way. But I think in terms of the long run, looking throughout the season, you won't be satisfied if that's the way that you score only.
Looks like part of that front five, Demi Stokes, has settled back a little bit more in the midfield here, as that is one of the changes. Stokes, such a quality player. They have her out at the wing sometimes, and she's now sitting more central in front of that back line.
Yep.
Substitution here now is Alexandra Myers will come in here right early on here to start the second half, and Liv Chance will come off. And Liv Chance, such a key part of this front five for USF.
And it must be, she looks like limping a little bit, so some sort of injury. And probably said we're going to go out there, see what it's like. At least in the second half in the NCAA, she can still go back in.
Paget now back in at that left back position. We saw Paget start at the left back and then move up top, the fifth-year senior. Played for Ottawa, the W League. Coming back from an injured knee is Paget. There'll be a corner kick here now, though, for the home team, USF. The Bulls with the fans getting into it. Sent across, it's dangerous. Still loose. Did it go in? It did. And just like that, USF comes out. They survive the first 45, and they're on top 1-0.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dean, you said it just like that. You know, the ball goes in, they win a corner kick, and all of a
Patterson.
sudden. Yeah, with the header going in on that. And again, she got up well, and the ball, heads the ball down, almost bounces over the goal, and then Clemson trying to clear the ball out, but could not get it off the line.
So the Canadian Denise Schilte-Brown counts on the Canadian Kara Patterson from Alberta with the goal here. And boy, I'll tell you what, that's pretty good coaching, because Denise Schilte-Brown, talked about making the adjustments, getting the front five involved, and why not go ahead and bring your center back as well to join in and get a big goal?
Yeah, as we said, that they were going up, both team center backs go up on the restarts, and that's the reason why they do it. They're very, very good in the air, and Patterson, one of the big targets, period, on the field. Certainly very good in the air, and shows that she can be good heading the ball both ways. It is a different skill, defending headers and attacking headers.
Okay, so the good part of getting your freshman experience is they start to gain confidence, but then when you're faced with a little bit of adversity, as a former coach, when you've got a young team, how do you handle this after being so dominant in the first 45?
Well, seriously, this happened so quickly that you now have to be really careful with the team, because, a young team can easily give up a second goal very quickly. And so he needs to get them, to just settle down and try to remember that this is just one little bit out of the whole game so far.
All right, Keith, registration for the 2014 NSCAA convention is now open. You can join 10,000 of your coaching peers for soccer's biggest party this January 15 through 19 in Philadelphia. We guarantee that you'll learn something new from the world's best clinicians and gain new connections by attending one of the many networking socials. You can even get your coaching diplomas during the week. Visit nscaa.com/convention for all event details. An injury right now, so the referee will stop the clock as Clemson will make a necessary change. Caitlin Reeve will come back into the game as an injured player for Clemson. Allows us to talk a little bit about the convention.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you will be hearing us talk about the convention the entire season, because it is the top thing of the year, the most exciting part of soccer of the year outside of actually playing or coaching games. And we hope to see everybody in Philadelphia this year, one of the best places to have the conventions. But to ask what Coach Radwanski would like to have after a goal. Well, if you could, he'd like to have a timeout. So in a way, he just got one, with the injury, and his team was able to get together and kind of regroup a little bit on the field. And this will be a test of whether they have good field leadership. So many freshmen, but there has to be some upperclassmen there to hold them together.
They now have Abnathy, number 11, up top. USF does. Here's Paget, left back, coming forward for Clemson. Let's see how they handle being down 1-0. Played up top long, looking for Kylie Tawney, number 17. Tawney is up there with Brittany Beaumont as well, number 16. There's a lot of subs here, though. Also sitting up top, Deanna Sherry is Eddie Radwanski going to his bench here.
Well, it's one of the things that he does feel that he's deep. Whether he's deep right now, let's see what happens on the wing here before I finish that thought. whether he feels he's deep right now or that if he gives them the experience, he's going to be deep when they need it getting into conference play. And that's why he said he's probably going to be, playing quite a number of players. And, of course, in the second half now, you will see a few more subs in the first half because of them being allowed to come back in.
Good run here now coming out of the back. Number 23, Jessica Clark for USF. And that was actually Bianca Norman, number 22. Out of bounds. It'll stay with USF right in front of Denise Schulte-Brown and Chris Brown, the coaching staff here. Patterson, the goal scorer. Stokes, good ball into space. A foot race out of the goal comes Kaylin Sheridan.
And she did well. It was good timing. She needed to come out of the goal there, and it was a very good through ball by Demi Stokes, showing why she was put back in the midfield. And I do think one of the reasons she was put back in the midfield, Dean, is because of the fact that they do need to get a hold of the ball. And while that was only 4 passes that led to that, they were passes that's 2 of them that split defenders to get them in behind.
Good crowd here. A lot of the students here at USF starting to gather behind the goal. 1-0 already. Looking for another one. Cleared out of there nicely, though, by the Tigers. Signs will have it. Played out wide. Passariello. What a good ball from Passariello. Skipped just a little bit too far, though, for Jackie Simpson, number 5.
Yeah, it was a good idea, but that type of ball almost has to be absolutely right on the money to get to, especially when it is a little bit wet. And you either have to hang that up a little bit more or, maybe make a different decision there. But, again, South Florida seems to have turned the corner. That early goal sparking them. We didn't know yet whether they had come out, with any sort of additional energy or whatever. It was too early in the half.
Indeed, Keith, and that energy, though, gives USF, I tell you what, they're feeding off of that goal. Is now it feels like a repeat of the first half, but it's the home team now that's down.
Maybe this field is slanted that way. You were talking about that before, and it's certainly possible. There may be a lot more rain on that one end than the other, but it's interesting, too, we talk about the fact that Clemson had the whole first half and they didn't reward themselves. Well, this was also the first goal they've let up this season. So it's another thing that they have to rebound from as well.
Yeah, well said. The 0-0 tie against Auburn and the 1-0 win against Furman. So the first goal surrendered by Clemson. Boy, as much as Clemson was dominant in the first half, this has been all USF here in the first 8 minutes. Another one on the horizon, squared across. And the goalkeeper comes out. Kaylin Sheridan able to cut it down as crossing that ball was 17, Sarah Miller with the great speed.
Yeah, and it's not just the speed she had, but the touch she had taking that ball was really good. That came right down and right in stride, prepared the ball, and then got the shot. And yes, the goalkeeper, Kaylin Sheridan, did come out and cut the angle down, forcing that shot to be just a bit wide. And a couple chances for South Florida players to be sniffing at the end of that, but they didn't get to it.
Denise Schulte-Brown talking about Sarah Miller. Her parents own an Amish restaurant in Sarasota. They bring pies up here for the entire team, and a little extra workout for Denise after the delivery from Sarah Miller's parents, who we say hello to. And Sarah Miller we haven't seen. Has got this unbelievable flip throw that super athletic, and haven't seen it yet, though.
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't want to know about. I don't care about the flip though. I want to know about these pies. I'm going to send my mom in Bradenton, who's watching right now, to go down and find these pies in Sarasota next time I visit.
We'll find out that restaurant name for sure, Keith. Keith DeBatsy not one to turn away some pie. Stokes won it for a second. Signs doing the work. Just buzzes all over the field here for Denise Schulte-Brown and Chris Brown, the associate head coach. And here's Signs again, trying to thread the needle. Stepping up, though, just in the right time, Savannah Coiner.
One thing that noticed, Dean, is, and it's actually with both teams, is the versatility of a number of players. And we've seen players going from left back to center forward, from center midfield to left back, and the left mid, Demi Stokes from the wing into the midfield. And it's great when you have a lot of versatility on your team, and you can, when things aren't going well, rather than taking a player out of a game, which could hurt the confidence, you move them to a different position and see if that sparks them.
And we're seeing that here. We saw Stokes slide in the middle. Great point, Keith the Bat Snake. Just a little sort of positional changes working for Denise Schilte-Brown. We'll see if it works for Clemson as the Tigers now getting ready to go back to number 11, Katrina Atanda, who looks so good in that first half. Atanda comes on along with Emily Bayorth.
That's Emily, the twin sister of Gabby, as well, and both of them are Region 2 ODP players.
The goal here, though, from Kara Patterson, the 5'8 junior from Edmonton, Alberta. And remember, Denise Schilte-Brown, Canadian as well, actually represented the Canada national team. Kara's sister Taylor was also part of this team for several years, left last year.
I tell you talked about the amount of foreign players on these teams too, and it's amazing. There's like 8 or 9 different countries represented. Like we got a United Nations out here right now, and when the rain was coming down, it was like Noah's Ark. We had 2 from every country coming in, and one of them just got eligible right beforehand.
We're going to see the same with the men's game, though, too. Coming up, George Kiefer, also an international team. But how about Bob Buthorn with Florida Gulf Coast? A lot of international players. Guatemala and Mexico, a key part of his
international,
program.
but with the same flavor, I'd say.
Right.
In the types of players that he brings in. And I really think it's going to be exciting because these are both teams with South Florida and Florida Gulf Coast, and I don't want to speak too much about it, because we have a good game going on here. But I think they're both teams that have very good technical players and not necessarily your typical collegiate type of style of play. Actually, quite a better one.
Here comes Clemson. Little bit of space right now. It's 4-on-4. They drop it to Atanda. Atanda can put it on a dime. Gets it out wide right. Falls at the feet of Emily Bayorth. Great overlapping run. As coming onto it there was Jenna Weston. Weston in a battle. And Norman, it'll go off of Norman and throw in back to Clemson as here comes Eddie Radwanski's Clemson Tigers. Throw in to Atanda. Atanda does such a great job normally of keeping possession. She'll lose it that time.
Yeah, and the ball came in a little hard off of her foot there with the defender right on her back, and I think she was in between whether she was going to control it or make a pass back to the thrower, and ended up making the pass back to the sideline.
31 minutes, 50 seconds left here in this one, and it's the home team, USF, with a 1-0 lead, and Pasariello dancing around with the ball, just looking for a white jersey. He really didn't know where to go with it. High pressure here again, as into the game is, and up front is Tabitha Paget. It'd be interesting to see as well if Paige Record comes back in and joins in, number 8.
Paige, of course, who had that great chance early in the game when she blocked the clearance from the goalkeeper and put the ball off the post. And I'm sure that regardless of the score or the result of this game, she'll be thinking about that for quite a while.
Denise Schilte-Brown, Chris Brown, they've got twin boy and daughter, and then George Kiefer's got 2 twin boys. It's something in the water down here in Tampa. Here comes Clemson. Norman will handle the pressure. Pretty good ball. Somehow it sneaks through here to Sarah Miller. Miller with that great speed. Plays it to space. Down to the end line. Keeps it in bounds. But no problem there for Kaylin Sheridan.
Yeah, and unfortunately Sarah Miller, she did a really good job letting the ball go and turning on it. I don't think she realized that, when she turned, it was almost, oh, wow, the ball is open downfield. And her first touch when she got to it, let her down a little bit. She could have cut inside. I think she would have looked like she did that first time early in the half where she put it across and won the corner.
The Bulls on top 1-0 here at Corbett Soccer Stadium after nearly a 2-hour delay. The students still out here in full force, and they do a great job, both programs. Denise Schulte Brown's USF women's team, George Kiefer's men's team. They really get the student body behind them. They always get great crowds out here. And a lot of times the crowds do have to, particularly early in the fall, the weather is crazy in Tampa.
Yeah, we'll talk with George Kiefer. He said, if you get through September, you're usually okay. And last year they had about 3 games that had these delays, and they didn't have one game for like 5 years prior to that. So you never know. Maybe it's just when we schedule ourselves here.
A couple years ago, I had a delay with Notre Dame and USF women, and then USF men. We had a delay one time as well, a ton of rain. But we always love coming down here. They treat us first class. Sean Barrows does a great job here, the SID for USF. Here comes Clemson, down a goal now. Left a couple off the scoreboard, I guess you could say, Keith, in the first half.
Yeah, two outstanding chances. One of them early and then one of them late. And the one late, I think, is the one that can be really deflating. You get over the one early because they obviously did. They kept playing quite well and pressurizing. The one late, you go right into the locker room really feeling like, hey, we should have been up 1-0. And you weren't. And, like I said, clearly South Florida has played better the second half than the first half. Is it a product of scoring that early goal? Because I'm not sure that early goal was a product of anything, but just they happened to get an early corner kick. And capitalized on it very well.
Well, let's see now what Eddie Radwanski has in his bag of tricks with this extremely young team. As we mentioned several times, starting 7 freshmen. Clemson is on it. They'll look up. Paget was open. She wanted it right at the top of the 18, Keith, and didn't get it.
Yeah, and one of the problems with it is there was only her and one other player in the box.
This is dangerous. Sent back across. Flag stays down, but go ahead.
It was dangerous there, too. It almost caught them in. There was only 2 players in the box for that cross, and Paget was, dropped off to try to be open. And what they really needed to do, they're down a goal, was once it was pretty obvious that they're going to have a chance to get a cross in, they've got to really crash that box with more players.
Youth clubs and players want to be noticed by the top college programs, and the NSCAA can help. Through its partnership with Elite Tournaments, the NSCAA College Showcase connects you with college coaches so you can show off your talents. Clubs, players, and college coaches can find more information at nscaa.com/events. And you are watching NSCAA TV, one of the new pioneering elements of NSCAA as they continue to make the experience better for their near 30,000 members, Keith Tabatsnik, as the organization continues to grow under Joe Cummings, their CEO. Fantastic staff. Rob Kehoe, Chris Bird, Christine Mason, Monique Bowman, they all do a wonderful job.
Well, they do, and you talk about all the different things, and you think about what the motto was for the convention last year, innovate and elevate. And this is certainly what's happening with this NSCAA TV as well. Just another innovation and help promote the game and the college game to all those members. And you don't even have to be a member.
Claire Wagner. Vanessa Laxgang was also interested, but Wagner, the Castle star, booms one in there. It's punched just slightly there by Christiana Endler. And Clemson will win it back. They're certainly not going to back down based on those first 45 minutes. Sent into the 18, won there at the moment by USF. Nice little turn with the ball there by number 14, Alexandra Myers. Plays it back to Norman. Norman will try to stay with it. Stokes is open. Here comes Stokes. I've not said her name enough, in my opinion. Dynamic player. Stokes trying to stay with it. Stokes able to get by Paget. The fans like it. Stokes staying with it. Good ball in. First touch, though, by Miller, away from Passariello. And, boy, I think if Miller leaves that one for Passariello, it's good.
Dean, you're exactly right. She did not know Passariello was behind her, and she leaves it, and not just leaves it, but after she leaves it, leaves her player. She'll end up being the one in front of the goal. And this was the second time it happened with Clemson before, that a ball coming across to a forward did not know who was behind them. And I think it's one of those habits in soccer of just always getting players to look behind you nonstop. And certainly as forwards, you should always know where your partners are.
Yeah, because one of the most beautiful plays is, Keith, is that dummy where you just leave it and it falls to the player making that run.
Some of the best touches I've ever had in the game were the ones I didn't touch. Just dummied the ball.
Delighted to be here at the beautiful Corbett Soccer Stadium in Tampa, Florida. As your score here is the USF Bulls 1 and Clemson 0 right here on NSCAATV.com. As we are pleased to be joined in the booth now by a familiar face. Joined us when we were here last year. Doug Woolard is here, and I'll tell you, you're going to love his pipes as well. A former broadcaster, too, right, Doug? Didn't you have a little background in that?
I was fortunate enough to do a little bit of that, so thank you. Thanks for being here, guys. This is great the way you all are certainly bringing women's and men's soccer into a lot of homes throughout the United States.
Well, we're delighted to be here. Doug Woolard, the athletic director at USF, which is certainly made athletics a big focus around the student athlete. But first, let's talk about this facility. I love it here, Doug. The Corbett Soccer Stadium, one of the top college soccer facilities and atmospheres in the nation, even after a 2-hour delay. Are you kidding me?
And the field's great, doesn't it? I mean, it drains so well. But we're fortunate to have this, and Cornelia and Dick Corbett made a big contribution for us to get this field, and she used to own the Rowdies, really appreciates soccer and collegiate soccer even, and we think we've created one of the best environments any place in America to play soccer. It certainly helped us in recruiting and certainly helped in player development, and you can see the kind of atmosphere that we have here, and I know that our student athletes really appreciate it.
Here with Doug Woolard, the athletic director at USF, started here in 2004 and led the construction of the new USF Athletics District. But you've also been busy, as a lot of teams here from the Big East have been busy, moving to the American Athletic Conference. Talk about that move and what it really means, Doug.
Well, we're now in an all-sport league where in the conference we had in the Big East, there were half the schools that played football and half didn't. And now we all look alike in this conference. We've added some major metropolitan areas in the fact that with SMU and the Dallas area, with Houston, with Memphis, with Philadelphia, with Tulane, with UCF, and soon to be added will be Tulsa, Tulane, and ECU. So, and then Navy in 2015. So this is going to be a great league. I think that in some of our sport programs, it's even going to be more difficult, and the talent level might even be higher than what it was in the Big East. And this sport might be one of those.
Couple substitutes here for Denise Schilte-Brown as Francisca Brecky will come in, and also coming in here is number 11 Victoria Abnathy, as we're joined in the booth by the athletic director of the USF Bulls. And as Denise Schilte-Brown makes those substitutions, talk about the job that she and her husband have done here with the Bulls.
Denise has got a great personality. She's very energetic and has done a good job in helping to elevate this program, and not only on the field, but one of the things that you see with Denise is how much she expects and how she helps to shape these young women off the field in doing everything they can in the community and in the classroom, and really is a very classy and energetic young woman here as our women's soccer coach.
Corner kick for USF, as we'll keep Doug Woolard around for one more question after this corner kick. Always a pleasure to be joined by the fine AD here for the Bulls. And the Bulls have come out after feeling a lot of pressure in the first half. Got a goal here to start the second, looking for another one on the corner kick. That's not quite there. I mentioned earlier you got a new soccer, baseball, softball, golf facility. Just talk about how much the athletic program has grown over the past few years, Doug.
It really has. In the last, 10 years, I guess, our budget's gone from $18 million to nearly $50 million. We've had a lot of support from this community. We're the only Division I university in 3.5 or 4 million people in the greater Tampa Bay area. And what most people don't know about the University of South Florida is we have 48,000 students. We're the 8th largest school in the country. And so it's a great place to come to, a great place to be, and we've had a lot of support. You mentioned a lot of the facilities we've been able to build, and in those facilities you mentioned, there's not any university money or any state money, and it's money that folks have helped to invest in our student athletes, or we've carved out of our budget for debt service. So we have created what we think is a great athletic district here, and I think Tampa is one of the best places in the United States to live.
Finally, Doug, time to get on the bus for the new football coach as well. You got a game tomorrow night, right?
We do, yeah. Willie Taggart is our new football coach. He's from this area, from Sarasota, Manatee. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. You know, football in Florida is football in Florida, and I think a lot of folks are certainly excited to have Coach Taggart here and have him back here, and we're looking forward.
Trouble here. Ooh, that one just sailed over the crossbar as a great shot from the captain, Vanessa Laxgame. And I didn't want to be around you, Doug, if that one snuck in there. So
you guys have been good luck so far to us. So it is. Tomorrow we play at 7 o'clock. We play McNeese State at home tomorrow evening, and then a week from now we go to Michigan State and play. So football's back.
All right, your website where everybody can find out all about the Bulls.
They can simply go to either call 1-800-GO-BULLS or to go to our webpage here with USF Athletics and GoBulls.com. I think it's again, learn more about the university. Athletics a lot of times can be the front porch to the university, and that's something that I think when people come in and see about our program, hopefully they learn a lot about it. So again, thank you guys for what you do. Appreciate it for college soccer.
Pretty nice front porch. I enjoy it.
Thanks.
Doug Woolard, the athletic director, thanks for being with us here, and as the Bulls try to get another one. Thanks, Doug. Doug Woolard, the athletic director for USF, joining us here in the booth. Keith the Bat Snake, and what a job he's done.
You talking about me or talking about him? Okay, yeah.
Both of you. You always do a great
Thank
job.
You. Yeah, no, he did. You talk about the facilities that he's made, and hey, how about that kind of $18 million to $50 million, and but
sounds like your budget.
Well, yeah, I don't know. 22 years, add it all up, and you don't get to that first one, But point being, you can have all that money, you still have to use it well and be smart about it, and certainly they have. And as he said and you said, quite a good front porch to this university.
Well, meanwhile, though, Clemson continues to be so close. Laxgang, Keith, as you were peering over our shoulder, almost put one in right there.
Yeah, well, Clemson is certainly not going to give up, and as momentum shifts in the game of soccer, I think they did withstand not giving up a second goal, after the early disappointment, and maybe they can kind of bring things back on for the final third of this game.
Clemson trying to ping one inside the 18. This one will bounce around. Flag stays down, and the Bulls able to clear it out for the moment outside of the 18. And they do. Here comes the speedster Miller. Miller off to the races. The crowd loves it. Stokes is trailing behind. Stokes calling for the ball. They'll give it to Stokes. Stokes now, diagonal ball back in. That was a case where, you want to get to the feet of Stokes, but Miller still had some real estate to run with.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's always that decision, when to pass, when to dribble and everything. And, when the ball comes to you, you only have three choices, dribble, pass, or shoot. And, it might have had all three at that stage too. And, I guess it's only when you make the best decision everyone's happy, right?
Well said, Keith. Stokes, who was calling for the ball, drops one back in, and now here's Miller again. Miller does not have much room to take off with it, so she'll try to square. This is dangerous. Liv Chance is back in there. Remember, she hobbled off here in the second half. So important to the attack. USF has been outstanding here in the second half, answered the bell from Clemson, and they're on top 1-0, and the students having a good time.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Dean is they're obviously excited about the fact that their team is up 1-0. I'm excited that a team is up 1-0, and hopefully it stays that way. We've had a long enough a delay, and and you know where I'm getting at there. I won't even do it. Can I jinx it? Talk about we don't do that overtime stuff very well right now when we've had the delay. So I root for neither one of these teams, just a winner, and both of them have played well enough to be that.
Both teams, too, will make some substitutes, though, as Eddie Radwanski will do everything he can to come back with the equalizer. 3 new players come on for Clemson, 2 come on for Denise Schilte Brown's USF Bulls. Denise Schilte Brown, so much energy. Such a pleasure to spend time with her on the phone here a couple days ago as she gets amped up for this team. She thinks she's got a team that can make a decent run here in the American Athletic Conference.
Well, I think both teams are going to get quite a bit out of this game, regardless of the final score, because there's certainly a lot of lessons and things that can be taken from this to build on in a real positive way.
Clemson on the attack, able to earn the throw in near the corner flag. 15 minutes left here in this game. The Bulls on top 1-0. Sent back across, but out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick back now to the Bulls as another substitute for Denise Schilte Brown. Diana Signs, the sophomore from Costa Rica.
I thought he was having a lot of work today, almost more work than some of the players. Is the fourth official, Alex Ivanenko, getting these players in and out. And Alex, one of the top referees in collegiate soccer over the years. He was up from the New Jersey area, Big East referee quite a bit, and NYSOA Hall of Famer, and fourth official quite often down here in South Florida where he makes his home now.
Saw that pregame hug. It's the first time you've ever seen Keith Tabatson give a referee a hug.
Well, Dean, as I say, you never know if I go back onto the sidelines, and I want them to remember how nice I've been. Alex, if you ever ref again, I don't think you ever made a mistake that I can remember.
The politician, Keith Tabatsnik. It's 1-0 here at Corbett Soccer Stadium.
The only thing, Dean, is my memory's not that good, so,
I'm just glad you remembered my name. Cleared off the back line.
Got it written down right in front.
Boy, really, as much credit as we give to Eddie Radwanski, the coaching job from Denise Schilte Brown and her brain trust, as we called it, here in the second half has been fantastic. The moves they made, Keith, you pointed out, they put players in different positions as well, and it has worked out. Look at USF. They are so clean, and they're getting it to the front five like she wanted to.
Well, they are spread out quite a bit, too. Quite a lot of space to attack into when they can. She actually went dribbled that right into trouble there, though, and had some good width she could have played the ball out to. And one of the things, while Clemson now is trying to push when they do get the ball up there, there's a fair bit of space for counterattacking for South Florida if they take it at them fast.
Foul on Clemson. The number 11 recruiting class in the country by Eddie Radwanski, and they certainly feel like the future is bright in Clemson.
Well, they have to feel that way. I mean, just the way that they've played today, you can see a lot of promising things with their team, and so many freshmen, and just going to take a little while.
Keep an eye on Coiner. The center back came forward. It'll be flicked. Coiner was there to try to get that second ball, but handled neatly by Christiana Endler, the Chilean goalkeeper. Out of bounds, off of sides. Radwanski with his hand up wanted that call, and he will get it. Now checking back in. Here will be Jenna Polanski, a sophomore from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and a pre-business major.
Yeah, and I think Jenna Polanski, a player that you put in when you're trying to chase that goal, and a very technically very good player, and I think where if she could just be more consistent in applying those skills, she'll be seeing a lot more minutes. But she can turn it on when things are going well for her.
And speaking of turn it on, number 8 is in there, Paige Reckert, wearing the green bandana. She's back in there, and I'm glad she is because I think she's a player that can make a difference, and she's going to have a bright career.
Well, she's also got the size there and the physical ability to battle with the center backs for South Florida, who have been quite dominant.
Interesting sub here now. Atanda coming out, Keith, and Vanessa Laxgane comes back in. I like Laxgane coming back in, but Atanda, I think, just so calm with the ball. You need that connector, but we'll see what Clemson can do.
I do think one of the issues in this last, when you think of this last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, there have been so many subs that getting a rhythm for either team is not easy.
Yeah, and Eddie's not done. Katie Sprouse, the freshman from Bixby, Oklahoma, part of that top 11 recruiting class, also trying to get into the game. There's Reckert, hoping to trap that long ball back to goal. One back in the middle. Granados Gomez, the newest player of this team. Drop back to Chance. Chance attacking the goal. Looking back for Granados Gomez. Signs will take the shot, but over the crossbar into the student section. And that's USF women's soccer right there at its best.
No, it is, and taking quite a quick attack down there, moving there, and honestly, you know, the ball could have been left directly for Signs for the shot, and Gomez put the foot out to try to do it. Then it kept going. She just let the ball go again. It's the third time we've seen that. She might have been able to have a cleaner go at it.
Kington will come out of the game, as coming in is Sprouse. Kington overcoming that ACL injury. On the turn, and a good turn indeed, is Jana Spengler, the German. And coming out strong, though, is Kaylin Sheridan, the Canadian goalkeeper. Sheridan, along with Reckert and Wagner, Atanda, 4 key players in that recruiting class. Back across, here's a dangerous opportunity as it falls to the feet, but not on target for Clemson.
That's one of the things, I'm sorry, Dean, but when the ball's coming that fast to you, you don't have to swing very hard. You know, Tori and Dresky there putting it over top, and you know, all you do is just hit the top of the ball and hit it down to the ground. The momentum that's coming at you will get it on target.
You're watching NSCAA TV, created by the National Soccer Coaches Association of America, to continue to bring you great coverage of college soccer. Remind everybody, every Tuesday, we've got the NSCAA Rankings and Highlights Show presented by our good friends from Continental Tire, where we break down not just Division I soccer for men and women, but 2 and 3 in the junior college, even NAIA, the NSCAA, all over it, Keith.
No, and watching those shows, Dean, it's been really good. Good shows just to stay on top of things, you know, with the what's going on in college soccer all over. But some of the specials and stuff you had on the Mac Herman list and things like that were very interesting. And you know, certainly recommend those of you that are college fans out there that you tune into that every Tuesday or go on and have a look at the shows that have been done.
Yeah, a couple there already, including that. Clemson is in. Clemson could tie. And does he point to the spot? He does. Penalty kick. Clemson, a foul in the back, as it looked like clipped there by Jackie Simpson. And it'll be a penalty kick for the Clemson Tigers and Eddie Radwanski's Clemson Tigers. So dominant in the first 45. USF, the better team here in the second half, but now Clemson can tie it.
They can tie it. They can tie it off Vanessa Laxgang, who we said is a very good player that we like quite a bit. I believe she's stepping up for the ball. Is that correct, Dean?
Yeah, I believe it is Laxgang.
Yeah, and a good call by the referee as well.
Indeed, it was a penalty kick. Can she finish? She can, and the Tigers have tied the Bulls here at Corbett Soccer Stadium.
Did somebody say we wanted overtime? I think that might have been me, you know. But there
this
we
game's
go.
Far from over, though, Keith.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, Clemson, never gave up. That not like they were maintaining a lot of sustained pressure, but certainly enough that when they were going down there, they were looking dangerous. We were talking about that shot just before that went over top, and unfortunately, South Florida, did not get into a rhythm to try to keep the ball for long periods of time as they got into this last 15 minutes of the game, and now. Just inside the last 10 minutes right now.
We are tied at 1. And Keith Tabatsik, the college soccer coach, if it does go to overtime, explain the overtime rules here in college soccer.
You play 2 10-minute periods, but it is golden goal. So goal scored, and there's the winner. After the end of 2 10 minutes, there is no more score, then it stays a tie. There are no penalty kicks in the regular season, only when you get to postseason play.
Laxgang with the equalizer on the penalty kick. It was Simpson on the foul inside the box, and the coach called it a good call by the referee. And Laxgang able to tie it. Now the Bulls battling around number 4, Francisca Brecky.
As this game, if it does go into overtime, and of course you have Florida Gulf Coast driving up today, from Fort Myers, and planning their pregame meal for a certain time, prior to the game. And, of course, now several hours later, they probably have to have a second pregame meal.
Great point, Keith. Back across. And that was another thing that I want to say you doomed as well, because you talked about that around 3 o'clock, long before the rain came. So you're 2 for 2. What's the hat trick?
I don't know.
Overtime for the men's game.
I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that.
All right, Denise Schilte-Brown bringing back in some of the speed. Number 17 back in there, Sarah Miller, who scored her first goal of the year in that 1-1 tie at Texas, and a big one indeed. And she would love to get one here. Here's Record, has looked good here in the second half. On the turn, freshman. A little bit of a heavy touch. One back by USF. Liv Chance can't get to it. Now it's cleared by the Bulls. Played all the way up top. Passeriello. Here comes the speed of Signs. Signs will try to stay with it. It'll go off the chest of Signs, though, and it'll come back to Clemson. What about the speed right there of number 7, Diana Signs, the Costa Rican?
Well, I think it could come down to somebody's speed going one way or the other. This game has opened up a fair bit on either end, and quite a bit of space to go to, and one or two passes and put somebody through, and that could lead to the goal.
Great job stepping up by Katie Sprouse, the sub, to stop that attack from Signs. On the move here now comes Polanski off the bench. Polanski over to Record. Record with that green bandana. A little bit too far, I think, for that shot. She had some options wide open on the left side as well, and that'll allow USF to counter. Remember that play. Here come the Bulls. It's 4-on-5 at the moment. The field opening wide up, and let's see if we can earn a corner kick here. The Bulls, that is. No, it'll be a throw-in, though, to the Bulls.
Yeah, throw-in, but you're right down at the other end. There was a lot of space to play the ball out to a player that was overlapping, and to take the shot from there. I love forwards that are a little aggressive on the shots, but it was too far out.
Checking in now for Denise Schilte-Brown, Bianca Norman, the senior out of Las Vegas, will come into the game. And then for number 21, Abby Jones for Eddie Radwanski's Clemson Tiger team. It's a USF throw-in. 4 minutes and 29 seconds left in regulation. We are now tied at 1. Stokes was in there crashing. Shot, top of the box. Passeriello will try to keep it alive. It'll fall again. Granados Gomez handles that pressure, gets it back out where it came from. And now USF trying to get some white jerseys inside the box. Can they get it there? Good defensive support there by the young Clemson team. The throw in, though, for USF.
And Clemson trying to hold on in there for every player back but one right now.
And after all of that, Clemson able to ping it long. They can turn it. Here come the Tigers on the counterattack. 1-on-3 right now. Running straight at goal, coming back in support. What a great substitution by Denise Schilte-Brown. The speed of Norman, still feeling the pressure. As staying with it there was Polanski, who has looked good here in the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really, may have stolen that ball good, but it was another breakaway there. I just said they only had one person left up top, and that's the person that led that breakaway.
This one will fall right in the middle here to Miller, trying to make one more touch. Stokes may go backwards to try to go forward, looking for opportunities with that left foot, threads the needle. Too strong for Passeriello, who finally showing some fatigue out there.
Yeah, it was worked very hard, obviously, but these passes there didn't really give him a great chance to get through, and I think Stokes needed to find something a bit shorter and almost dribbled herself into the ground trying to find it.
Remember this play. It was Jones who started it. Boy, it was too strong. That's too bad for Polanski, because how about the play of Abby Jones right there, able to fend off Savannah Coiner and Claire Wagner to keep the ball for the Tigers.
And I think had they been able to keep it, she might have been on the end of it going in after that.
It was Jackie Simpson and Kara Patterson, actually, that she was fending off. My bad. Right side, here comes USF. Way out of the goal, Endler. That's Kaylin Sheridan playing like a sweeper-keeper back there.
Once you've made that commitment, you'd better get that ball, don't you?
The freshman from Canada, Kaylin Sheridan, back across. Sheridan tested on that one. Looks like they'll say it deflected. Corner kick, USF. Less than 2 minutes to go. Still got a men's game to come in this one as well.
And this time, everybody back for Clemson.
Sent back across. The Bulls keep it alive. Marked by 2 orange jerseys. Norman can't turn. Pretty hard tackle. Referee will let him play on. I like that non-whistle right there. Here come the Clemson Tigers. Tawney, number 17, trying to play it into space. Liv Chance tracks all the way back as it's too strong for Andreski. It'll roll out of bounds, and with 1:10 left here, let's see if the home team can get one before we go to overtime. Checking in for the Bulls, number 15, Jordan Listro. Clock keeps running. Is coming out of the game is number 4, Francisca Brecky. As Broecki goes to the bench, throw in for Norman. Now on the right side, Signs on the left. Overtime is looming here at Corbett Soccer Stadium.
Overtime's looming. Looking at the ball girls there, it look like they're probably about 11 years old. I mean, they got to be going home soon, don't they? The delay in these games. They've been here for a long time.
Stokes. Liv Chance runs into a brick wall. 20 seconds left. Clemson trying to steal one here on the road. Played up top, too strong though, and over the head of Polanski. As Polanski gives another credible option for Eddie Radwanski. And indeed, we are, after nearly a 2-hour delay, we are going to overtime. A goal here to start the second half by Kara Patterson, answered late in the second half on a penalty kick from Vanessa Laxgang. And after 90 minutes of play, there's no score.
No, Dean, and I'll tell you, back and forth the whole second half. First half was Clemson's. They did not reward themselves, and then South Florida comes out, puts that goal in. Clemson hangs in there and deserved that penalty kick.
I want to remind everybody that registration for the 2014 NSCAA convention is now open. You can join 10,000 of your coaching peers for soccer's biggest party this January 15 through 19 in Philadelphia. We guarantee that you'll learn something new from the world's best clinicians and gain new connections by attending one of the many networking socials. You can even get your coaching diplomas during the week. Visit nscaa.com/convention for all event details. Dean Linke along with Keith Tabatsnik, 49th minute. Your goal from Kara Patterson, her first of the season. Assist to Myers, and then Vanessa Laxgang in the 82nd minute with the equalizer on a penalty kick, as Jackie Simpson getting tangled up there with a Clemson player. Whistled was Simpson, and you thought the right call.
The right call. Johnny Glover, the referee, in all honesty, there's no joking, that I'm just saying nice things about refs now, but he has done a very good job this entire game and really can't argue with any significant call that he's made. And I thought that was a penalty for sure. And they allowed Clemson player to slip in between 2 defenders and was taken down, and penalty put away with authority as well. So hung in there. Like we said, Clemson wasn't going to give up, and they certainly played it. It's actually a very, very fair result right now. If it was to stay this way, it would be hard to complain one team or the other.
Clemson, the better team in the first 45. Eddie Radwanski was very excited as we started the second half. We talked to him right here at Corbett Soccer Stadium. Denise Schilte-Brown, we talked at the end of the first half. She was not super happy, but said they needed to get the front 5 involved, and they got the corner kick, got the goal, and after the goal, I thought they were very dominant.
Yeah, and they were. They had the better of the game, and yet those couple times Clemson, it was just a reverse of the first half. I mean, the first half Clemson, was the dominant team, and yet the couple times that South Florida was down in front of their own goal, in front of the Clemson goal, they looked very dangerous, and it was reversed this half. And were it not for really just a bit of poor defending that leads to the penalty kick, then South Florida wins the battle of the halves.
So, More soccer here on NSCAATV.com as we are going to overtime, and we're not done with that, though. After this game is finished, we've got George Kiefer's high-powered, unbelievable attack for the USF Bulls with a left back and right back that are outstanding as well. They will be rolling out here against Bob Butehorn's Florida Gulf Coast team that has been waiting quite some time.
They have been waiting. Now this is it though. There's not a game after that, is there, Dean? That's it because we weren't on the air for, but there was a game before this game as well as part of the USF tournament, and but I do think it's just that one, and hopefully we'll get it in. I will go on a limb and say that we will not be out of here before midnight today, and that has happened before. But at any rate, we'll see what happens. This game could end in 30 seconds or it could go for the full 20 minutes of overtime. And, it's what happened. Golden Goal came into NSA Soccer in 1997 and they've stuck with it ever since. And I kind of like it that way, too. I think I was actually in favor of not having overtime because the amount of games you can play in 1 week and that sort of thing. But as long as you're going to have it, I like the fact that it can end, can end early. Somebody goes out and just scores right away.
All right, we're getting ready here for the first overtime. As Keith Tabatsnik talked about, a Golden Goal overtime in the college game. And the USF Bulls in all white are over the ball. Jonathan Glover has done a fantastic job in the middle of the park. Here is Norman. Norman looking up, trying to find Chance. Stokes is back in there, and Stokes is playing really, really deep here for USF, and that was a key adjustment for Denise Schulte-Brown here to start the second half. She's playing right in front of that back four. Here's Miller, the goal scorer for USF. Lucky that one went out of bounds. It'll be a throw in back to the Bulls.
Well, my guess is that both teams are going to keep going for this game. Neither team has shown any type of personality out here that would make you think that they'll be conservative right now just to get a draw. I mean, obviously the draw on the road for Clemson would have a little bit more meaning than for South Florida playing at home, but both teams have definitely gone for this. And certainly when you look at Clemson, as they got so many young players, this is the time to teach them. When we go into overtime, we're going to go for it.
He's now pushed up a ton of players up top. Tabitha Paget, number 7, is up top for Clemson as well. Clemson pushing, but cannot get it around number 7, Diana Sines. Speedy Costa Rican all over the place. Here's Stokes. What a great just move right there to be able to keep possession to New Zealand's Liv Chance. And Chance has had a rough go of it here tonight. So there's such a key part of this team as well, Liv Chance is, number 10. Stokes now directing quite a bit of traffic right in the middle of the field as more subs going to sneak in here. Alexandra Myers would like to get in. She had that assist, by the way, on the goal for Kara Patterson.
One thing that happens when Clemson's bringing the ball out of the back and Claire Wagner, has the ball, or Savannah Coiner, who both can hit the balls fairly long, is the South Florida defense starts dropping back, so those long balls are not getting through. And really now that when that happens, if they can find some midfielders who can turn and go at the South Florida defense, it'll be much more effective because the fact that they had those good long balls earlier has opened up the defense, but now they have to take advantage of that space.
Well, and as you explain all that, Liv Chance actually is going to go to the bench. As it's been a tougher game for Liv Chance, who was so fantastic the last time we saw her here as part of the NSCAA Game of the Week. A lot of pushing and shoving going on. Stokes Stokes can play.
Yeah, she does well there. The thing I like this year is be able to find her way out of those situations, sometimes without dribbling. To try to pass out of it and then leave her player after she passes it, especially that deep in the area. And we know she's a really good attacking player. And when you're in that midfield area, you can't use the same skill set necessarily or decision making. And I think she tends to do the same thing there. And she's so good, she gets away with it.
Little bump by Signs. Overtime at Corbett Soccer Stadium here on the campus of the University of South Florida, home of the Bulls. And Clemson's Claire Wagner, part of that Chelsea ladies team that won not one but 2 ECNL titles under Damon Nahas. Corner kick Clemson.
And these two center backs for Clemson are very dangerous in the air going forward. They had a really good chance in the first half off of the corner. Claire Wagner, Savannah Coiner.
Yeah, Coiner is in there. Indeed, so is Wagner, number 18. All kinds of orange jerseys in there. Trouble. Far post. It's open. It falls across the frame. Saved the first time by Endler. So close, Keith.
It was close. She was able to keep the ball in, seal it in at the back post, but then just couldn't quite get the timing down and getting off a strong shot. And it really was a very good opportunity for Clemson.
Clemson not done. It'll fall to Reeve. Reeve could dial. Reeve does dial. Handled again by Endler. Not quite as much pop as I thought she was going to have on that one.
No, it didn't look. Almost looked like it died halfway there. And again, a little deep. For that sort of shot to try to make. And having said that, you never know if you don't hit them. But the both keepers stay fairly close to their line, and so it's a little tough to score from that deep.
4 minutes and change left here in the first overtime of the first game from Corbett Soccer Stadium. The USF men and Florida Gulf Coast will follow this one. The Tigers continue to bring it as it falls to the feet here of Emily Byorth. Byorth and her sister Gabby, part of this huge recruiting class for Eddie Radwanski. He could field an entire team just with the recruiting class.
He could, couldn't he? Had a pretty good team.
Myers, number 15. Jordan Listro, rather, number 15. As Listro is in there, she made her USF debut, recording 2 shots and 1 assist in that season-opening 7-0 win over Arkansas Pine Bluff. A foul there, and kind of the first sort of foul where perhaps Mr. Glover will think about giving a card. And indeed, number 7, Tabitha Paget, will get a card for just throwing signs to the ground.
Yeah, you called it, Dean, and again, I think he's made very good decisions, as was that yellow card.
Jackie Simpson. Simpson with that right foot. It was Simpson who had the foul in the box that led to the penalty kick that was answered by Lax Gang, and that's why we're tied at 1. As Lax Gang with the penalty kick in the 82nd minute. Vanessa Lax Gang with her first goal of the campaign here in 2013 to match Kara Patterson's first goal for USF. 2 minutes, 50 seconds left here in the first overtime. Eddie Radwanski having some words with Keith's friend, the 4th official.
A lot of coaches have had words with Alex Ivanenko over the years. Alex tends to get the last word, though.
Granados Gomez. Was trying to get the turn in there for Alexandra Myers, number 14, but one back by Clemson. Clemson. Come all the way back to Sheridan, the goalkeeper. Will spread it out wide, right to the right back. This one deflected, putting some pressure on it. Still is Paget. It's Tabitha Paget, the senior from Orange Park, Florida. Has been with Eddie Radwanski for quite some time, including at UNCG. Paget is fouled. A free kick opportunity with 1:50 left here in the first overtime.
You know, it's interesting, Dean. This is the first free kick, of the entire game, I think, that's come in a dangerous situation, in terms of being able to, well, now it's dropped back a little, maybe a little too far for a shot, but it's still a potential shooting opportunity.
Lax Gang seems very interested. And another yellow card here, this time issued to number 19, Passariello. So Passariello in the books as well. So each team now with a yellow card here, and both of them coming in the first overtime. So fairly clean matchup. As over the ball is Claire Wagner along with number 10, Vanessa Laxgang. Laxgang will leave it to Wagner, and Wagner just never got her body over the ball, and she shows a sign of disgust right there.
Yeah, as she should, actually, because you're not going to score, trying to chip the ball from there and bend it in. You got to drive that ball to have a chance.
1 minute left here in the first overtime. You're watching Division I soccer on the newly minted NSCAATV.com. Here comes Miller, the speedster, inside the box, crosses it, but handled once again by the Canadian Sheridan.
Yeah, and it was, Miller making a good run there, but has to pull that ball back. And we talked about Sheridan, her distribution, and it shows it again there, trying to catch South Florida forward on that attack and going forward in the last 30 seconds.
Keith, she bombed that one.
Yeah.
That was a good 15 yards past midfield on the fly. One bounce, and Paget is on. Paget is on right now. She'll look up, cross it, far side, too strong. And in the final 10 seconds, we're going to have more soccer here. After a near 2-hour delay with lightning to start this doubleheader, they finally get underway, and we're still not done with the first of two here from Corbett Soccer Stadium.
No, we're not, and not really any fantastic chances in that period, other than off the corner kick early in the period for Clemson, where they couldn't quite get a good shot off, but. Again, right now, if the game ended like this, I would call it a fair result. And speaking of results, Dean, the TopDrawerSoccer.com scoreboard from the women's side tonight. UNC comes from behind to beat New Mexico 2-1. Duke 1-0 over Kennesaw State. Georgetown Hoya is 3-2 over crosstown rival GW. Dayton 3-1 over Cincinnati. Hey, here's a big one in state. Florida State 3, Florida 0.
Wow.
Tonight. You have UCLA 2, Marquette 1. Maryland 3-0 over George Mason. Liberty 2-0 over Old Dominion. San Diego State and Michigan State 1-1. And how about this? This was one of the biggest matchups of the weekend. Virginia and Penn State, okay? Virginia 5-1 over Penn State.
Wow.
So a big result for Virginia.
Led by Morgan Bryan, who is on the Herman Award list from the Virginia Cavaliers. And I'll tell you what, Steve Swanson's got a good team there in Virginia. That's a big win over Penn State.
That's a huge win. To win by 4 goals over a very good Penn State team. You speak about Morgan Bryan, and our U.S. women's national team will be playing Mexico in Washington, D.C. at RFK Tuesday night, and be a few college players actually on the squad, including Morgan Bryan. So good luck to our women's national team against Mexico.
Janet Rayfields, Vanessa DiBernardo, Keith the Bat Sneak pointed out, also on that team. I think maybe Crystal Dunn as well from Carolina.
Those are the ones. And DiBernardo just called up because of an injury to somebody else. And So I think she got the call up yesterday or the day before. So speaks volumes for the college soccer in this country, and that's why we're happy to be bringing it to you on nscatv.com.
After this one, the USF men's team taking on Florida Gulf Coast. FGCU right here at Corbett Soccer Stadium. And the next Friday, cannot wait as we head to College Park. Sasho Soroski's Maryland Terrapins welcome in John Kerr's Duke Blue Devils. They also happen to have the reigning Herman Trophy winner and Patrick Mullins. And a lot of people think Maryland has two teams that could be playing the Division I schedule right now.
Well, they probably could. I mean, last year they almost played two teams in each game. I saw a game early in the season where they actually played 21 different players, and when we had them on TV during the season, I believe there was 18 players, and they go in and they don't lose a beat, and they have certainly always had a lot of depth. But by the way, if you're in that area, get there early because that will be a sellout Friday night in College Park.
First Friday of the ACC season for Maryland and their swan song of the ACC. They join the Big Ten next year.
I tell you that, Dean, that's what you need a show on one of these Tuesdays on just all the different conferences, I think, what's going on.
Nine minutes and 30 seconds left in this one unless somebody scores. Clemson on the attack, trying to drop it inside. Down near the end line, kept alive, still and now inside the 18. Cross, is there an orange jersey there? There's not one. Good pressure coming forward, but handled neatly there by number 11, Victoria Abnathy.
Handled neatly, but certainly not the place you want to be trying to dribble out of trouble. And I got a little fortunate.
Norman misread that one. The goal scorer, Laxgang, on the attack. Laxgang with the right foot right across the frame of the goal. And almost snuck in there by Eddie Radwanski's Clemson Tigers, who looks up here to the booth with a big old Eddie Radwanski smile.
He does, yeah. Little salute up to the booth as well. But it's like, hey, that's one you just redirect in. There's no shooting there, and she got to the ball first. Just a little redirection, and Clemson will be celebrating right now.
Other way here now, though, for Pasariello. Pasariello, good cutback. Now back on her left, wants it back on her right, plays it inside the 18. Down near the end line, squared again. Cleared out of there, though, by Savannah Coiner, and it'll be a throw-in for USF. So many golden opportunities in this one for Clemson, not just in overtime.
But in overtime, it would be golden. Golden goal. We're trying to see if we're going to get one tonight.
Stokes. She can do it on her own sometimes. Tried to do too much there, though, and Clemson can go the other way. Clemson trying to put some passes together. A foul by Stokes just to slow down the train that was being run there by Abby Jones. 7 minutes and change. Keith, don't forget we have another game after this one.
Oh, would you see me cleaning up, ready to get going?
We got it. We do indeed got to get out all the notes on George Kiefer's Bulls and Bob Butehorn's FGSU team.
I thought we were getting a pregame meal before that, but I guess we don't have time now. They have been warming up on the field across the way and are kind of ready to get going. The second this game ends, they'll be on the field warming up for just a short period of time, and we'll get moving with it.
Tawney will get it out wide to Jones. Jones looks up, far post, nobody home. And this one will roll out of bounds.
Well, Dean, the thing I have enjoyed about the overtime is both teams have most definitely been trying to win this game, and neither team, is happy. Well, neither team will be that happy with the tie, other than the fact that both teams have worked hard. And again, like I said, I think it's a deserved result if that's what it stays.
6 minutes and 9 seconds away from staying exactly that way, Keith. Bonus soccer on NSCAA TV. That one will roll out of bounds.
We have to actually make a comment about this field as well. I mean, early in the season, it's in beautiful shape. Took a lot of rain and has just withstood that really well. You know, I mean, there was just a ton of rain that came down in a short period of time. And actually, I think the field might have been a bit hard before that. George Kiefer said actually the rain will probably end up helping it, despite the fact that there being literally been 3 games on this field today.
There's an interesting substitution as number 8. Demi Stokes, the junior from South Shields, England. 2 goals and 2 assists in their first 2 games, will come to the bench here as Francisca Broecki back in.
Yeah, I don't think she has much left in the engine right now, and I think that's why. So I'm trying to have a fresh player in, and I think one of the things with Demi Stokes is she does keep a hold of that ball sometimes in dangerous areas of the field, and she get tired. That could lead to a bad giveaway.
Boy, Pasariello came all the way back as you were talking about Stokes right there, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I thought that was a good pass, but too strong. USF pushing forward here, would like to get 3 on their home field. Both these teams have already played 110-minute matches as USF went out to Texas and tied Ange Kelly's team by a score of 1-1, and Eddie Radwanski's Clemson team opened their campaign in Auburn with a 0-0 tie. Boy, Laxgang was coming forward, wanted that ball quicker from Jones. USF can go the other way. Fans starting to pick it up a little bit. Pasariello, what a ball, dropped neatly there, but Myers couldn't do anything with it. Granados Gomez. This looked pretty good in the middle of the park. Broecki. Nice move by Broecki.
Very well there.
This one will fall. Pasariello will drop it back. Broecki again. Swing and a miss and cleaned up out of there by Tawney. Tawney trying to go up over the top, looking for Paget. Paget has done it all here for Eddie Radwanski, played all over the field. This could be dangerous. Coming out was Sheridan. She's outside. This one played across. Still loose. Still loose. And finally cleared away.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, Keith?
I'll tell you, Sheridan got a little fortunate because I thought she should have grabbed that ball when she came across, and it goes off her still right back to South Florida. And the South Florida run there just beat the offside. It was very close, and all of a sudden she finds herself there facing goal. And Sheridan obviously shown that she's very aggressive, and I think that's one thing she'll need to end up polishing a little bit is the decisions on when to come out.
Opportunity, though, right back the other way is Wagner. Wagner for Clemson. They could win it here. Punched out of there. Endler punched it out. 2 minutes left. Back across and handled by Endler again.
Handled by Endler, but a good look at goal and a good shot.
Boy, tough balls right now. Good pressure from Clemson as we're a minute 40 from looking at the score that Keith feels is justified. Subs here for both teams. Checking in here late. Once again, Jessica Clark. As Jessica Clark played 95 minutes in that 1-1 tie at Texas. She's from Miami, Florida. And in for Radwanski's team, number 14, Allie Kington. About 70 seconds left in this one. Throw in for Gabby Bayorth. 1 minute. We will sign off shortly after this game, tell you a little bit about the NSCA convention. We'll take a break and then come back with you 10-15 minutes for the start of the USF Bulls men's soccer game, taking on Florida Gulf Coast. 30 seconds. The goal scorer, Laxgang for Clemson, trying to drop it into space to Jones. Norman with an extra gear. One back though by Jones. Pushed off the ball by Skeet. Is coming over there in support.
They got a little fortunate there, South Florida. You know, they almost got caught in possession, a really dangerous area in those last few seconds.
And after 110 minutes of play, we have a tie here at Corbett Soccer Stadium. Denise Schilte Brown's USF Bulls won, and Eddie Radwanski's Clemson Tigers won.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Eddie's the one that's going to be very happy today with such a young team to get a result out here. I think South Florida will be very happy the fact that they came back. After being kind of dominated in the first half and scored that goal, but fair result, 1-1.
All right, for Turbo Sports and my broadcast partner, Keith the Batsink, I'm Dean Linke. Your final score here from Corbett Soccer Stadium. And the first of two is the USF Bulls 1 and the Clemson Tigers 1. We leave you by saying that registration for the 2014 NSCA Convention is now open. Join 10,000 of your coaching peers for soccer's biggest party this January 15th through 19th in Philadelphia. We guarantee that you'll learn something new from the world's best clinicians and gain new connections by attending one of the many networking socials. You can even get your coaching diplomas during the week. Visit nscaa.com/convention for all event details. USF 1, Clemson 1. More soccer around the corner on nscaatv.com.